patterns and stuff like that. Okay, so let's try that again. Bam. Okay, so now we have a cloud. It's just hovering there. That's boring. Let's make it move across the screen. So we have this update here ready for us. So in there, I'm going to put I'm going to create a value. Let's say cloud x. I'm gonna minus equal 1 on every call. Okay, I have not yet created cloud x. I'm gonna copy this, create it at the beginning of our document. So cloud x at the beginning of the world is going to be 128. So it's going to be off the side of the screen over here, and then it's going to decrease by 1. So let's replace our x value for the cloud with cloud x variable we've just created at the beginning. It's going to be 128, and then it's going to shrink by 1 every single frame. Whee! And it's just going to keep going off to the left end of forever until it rolls around the minimum most integer and like jumps to the maximum most integer, and it's going to travel back across the screen. Maybe like, I don't know, 15 minutes. It's going to come again. Whee! Yeah, okay, so that's something. It's happening. It's happening very fast. Let's slow it down. Let's change it by half. So you can't draw something at half a pixel over. So how this is going to work is that like, you know, whenever you give a value to this function that is not like a whole number, so it's like 14.5, it's just going to print it at the 14th pixel and just throw away this 0.5. So that is handy for us because we can use our cloud x as a as a number with some kind of a decimal. It just means that like it'll move every other frame because this number is less than 1. So let's see what that looks like. All right, still too fast, I think. So I'm gonna try. Okay, this is nice. I did this. It's a good speed. It's like ordinary and cloudy. All right, and it'll just like keep going all the way over there. So, you know, we have created basically a kind of a timer with this cloud x. It starts at a number, we subtract it by something, and now we have to kind of like make some decisions, because like what happens when this cloud x goes off of the side of the screen? I would want it to kind of like rewind it to the other side of the screen before we run out of integers and rewind to the other side of the world naturally. So I'm going to interrupt it. So I'm going to use this counter to interrupt it when it runs off the side of the screen. How we're going to do that? I'm going to make a conditional statement right in here. So I'm going to say if cloud x is bigger than 0, then cloud x is 128. So this should like throw it to the other side of the screen and then end. Must not forget that end. So this is let's see it. Oh, it disappears when it hits the left border of the screen. Okay, so that's cool. It's just because we are saying when cloud x becomes less than 0, we're immediately cutting it across. So we want to make sure that it's like the sprites have left the screen before we do that. And how wide is this? So this is 8, 16, 30, 32, yeah. So if we say that this is less than -32, and then we're going to rewind it to the other side of the screen. Let's make this a little more make this a little bit more interesting, because like 128, like it's always going to be on the other side of the screen waiting to pop in. So I'm going to add a little bit of randomness to this one. Randomness 20. So look, the cloud will go off the screen on the left, and then it'll show up a little bit further off the screen on the right, and it'll take a little more time for it to come into view. So there's going to be a moment with, you know, up to 20 times 33. I don't know. I'm just going to add more times so that it like adds a little bit of variety, and it doesn't feel like it immediately jumps over there. But it looks cool. All right, so now we're going to make sure that we also get a different cloud every time. So far, it's just been this one cloud. So here I'm going to, like we have 0, so let's make it here. Okay, so which cloud is it? It's the cloud 0. That's this one, cloud. And then we want to change that variable here as well. So we're going to change cloud to either 0, which is the address of this frame, 4, or 8. So how do we represent that in a clever way? Because it can be 0, 4, or 8. So random 3, like up to 3, and then we're going to floor that number. I'm going to wrap this random 3 in the floor function. Floor, ceiling. It's a floor. Doesn't actually tell you what it does here, but it makes, like, you know, it cuts off the decimal point and finds the next lowest number. So 4.1, it goes to 4. 2.3 goes to 3, because that's like the one below it. Ceiling is the opposite. It rounds up. This thing rounds down. So floor rounds down. Boop, gets rid of that tail. So by getting a floored version of random 3, it'll ensure that this number is either 0, 1, or 2. And then we're just going to multiply it by 4. So this expression will only return 0, 4, or 8 and feed it into the cloud variable. Okay, that's cool. Let's see if that works. So notice that I'm like double checking that everything I'm doing works. And it takes a while to wait for this cloud to travel across the screen. But boy howdy, do I hope it's different when it comes the next time. It is not. What have we done wrong? Maybe we haven't done anything wrong. Let's just double check. Cloud, cloud X, cloud, floor, yeah, I mean, maybe it just like rolled this number and it returned with the same cloud. Okay. Okay, let's I don't want to wait. So let's be clever about this. So we could speed up our cloud by putting like a big number here. So let's try that. All right, it works. Okay, that's exciting. You know, that's one way to double check this. Another way to test what we've just done is, like, because it starts off on the right, but what if we started off way on the left, where on load, the very first time that update runs, it's going to decide that cloud is less than 32 and create a whole new cloud for us. So every time we load or run the program, we're going to be able to get a new cloud so we can test it faster. Here's one. There's another one. Why is it always the same? There we go. Dang it, random function. Why do you favor the 0? All right, well, it's happening. Giving me different clouds. That's good. All right, so we have one timer. Let's add that lightning. We're going to start with applying the flash. I feel like that would be easier to implement. So like, let's start with the timer part of the flash. So I want it to flash every so often. So let's do it the same way we did it for the cloud X. I'm going to create some variables. Let's call it flash down. We're counting down to flash, and we're going to start it at 100, whatever. And so every frame, we are going to count down. So update. Okay, let me just clean this up a little bit. I'm going to say this is cloud code. And this is flash counter. And flash down -1. So every update, subtract 1 from flash down, and if flash down gets to 0, we want the flash, right? So if flash down, did I spell it right? I always try to cut and paste variable names so that I'm sure that that is not going to trip me up. My rubber fingers. Type whatever. All right, so if flash down is less than or equal to 0, then, and so what do we want to happen? We want the flash to happen. So I'm going to say if flash down is less than 0, then flash is true. So flash is my other variable. So I'm going to say flash is false. So we're going to say on any normal day, flash is going to be false. And when we are feeling frisky, namely when the flash down runs down to 0, flash is going to be true. Bam, and then it's going to be flash time, and then we're going to also like reset our flash down timer. So flash down is, let's say, random 100. So it's going to be like a random number up to 100. So right now it's just this variable is being changed to true, and let's use it to change some of this stuff up. So what do we want to change when the flash is true? Well, for one, we want to make sure that when the flash is happening, we want to show these colors as they are. So like this thing needs to be lavender. So we need to kind of like turn off the 13 equals 0 line. So the way I'm going to write this, I'm going to say if flash, or wait, if not flash, then do this. And so if the flash is not flashing, then make this change in color. So now we should see the flash happening. Whoops, no, we should not see the flash happening because run time error. Flash down line, attempt to perform arithmetic on global flash down, a nil value. Did I not define flash down? Flash down. See, I should be cut and pasting my variable names. I was like, I gave myself advice and then I didn't follow it because I know better. All right, flash. Oh, and now it's flashing and it's flash forever. Okay, so one cool trick. When do we want flash to be over? We want to be over. We want it to last only one frame, right? So like at the end of our flash frame, we're gonna reset flash. Flash is false. So this will ensure that when this counter decides that haha, it's flash time, flash is true, flash down, blah blah blah, it does its thing, and then the next time that the draw kicks in, it's going to be flash time, so it's going to know not to do this part. It's going to do all of the rest of the stuff and whatever other codes we put in there, and then at the end of that like loop of the draw execution, it's going to change back to false, and then the next frame it's just going to be dark again. So let's see if that works. Bam. Bam. Bam, 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 bam. Look at that. Okay, well, that's something, but it's a little boring right now because like the flash is random, but it's also strangely consistent. Like usually when it's lightning, it kind of goes bam, 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 bam. So I wanted to have two different kinds of random when we define this random flash. And so how do we do this? So for that, I'm going to use a trick of Lua to create a kind of like short form conditional that is only used when assigning variables. And I'm going to use it a bunch of times in this program because it's very graceful and stuff. So we want it to be random 100 most of the time, but half of the time I want it to be way less than that. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to say random, and so this little expression is just going to return a number from 0 to 1, and then I'm going to say if this random number is less than 0.5 and random 100 or random 20. So now half of the time, like, okay, so this is how this is a little bit wacky, but so this is how this program is going to read it. You pass a conditional over here. So you have to put some kind of an expression that resolves into true or false, or some variable that might be undefined. And so if this is true, then it's going to return this value, random 100, to the flashdown variable. But if this is like false, it's going to return this value to the variable. So we effectively have like a dice roll that happens in one line of text, and we give it two different options based on what that dice roll was. I mentioned that like there's only false in Lua, like is false. Like 0 in some other programming languages, if you have some experience with other programming languages, sometimes 0 can be false too. That is never the case in Lua. 0 means that this variable exists. However, nil, what, caps lock, oh my god, nil or false are false. So let me demonstrate. So let's say print nil or false, and it's printed false. You can barely see it there. It's okay, come on, let's just do this. 7. Okay, print nil or false in white, and it says false. So print nil or 0. It's going to say 0 because nil is false and it has defaulted to 0. So that's how this can be, this works, right? So like if there's a chance that a variable might be undefined, so this is a very handy way to sort of like catch cases where you don't have a variable value, and I'll cover that when it's relevant, I guess. So yeah, so we are going to create a slightly different pattern. Hopefully it'll be fun. So let's see what that looks like. Flash, 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 flash. I don't know. I feel like it could be more often. So let's make it so this one is going to be 0.4. So it's like it's going to like only 40% of the time it's going to be a random 100, and 60% of the time it's going to be random 20. So it's going to give me a little more a little more shorter flashes. So it's be like, I mean, in theory, there's got the 2 in a row. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, that's fun. All right, so the ground is flashing, but the clouds are not. So let's use our palette trick to make the clouds cooler. All right, so this is our cloud sprite. So here we're gonna say if flash then end, and we're gonna change 6 to 7 so that the gray on the edges of the cloud is gonna be white, and 13 is also gonna be 7. Then we're gonna print the sprite and end the flash. Okay. Oh, well. Huh. Okay, the clouds are turning white. I could swear that I've seen the roof turn white too. I'm hallucinating. In any case, I'm doing pal shenanigans over here, and I'm not resetting my pal situation. So just to be safe, I'm going to reset the pal again over here. All right, so now the clouds are flashing as well. I think I want to flash the sky. That'll be a little more of a flash, right? So we're always drawing the sky as 1, which is that blue color. But if it's flash, so so here I'm going to use that short form conditional variable return situation. I'm going to say flash and random 5. So that's going to if flash is on, it's going to return 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So one of these colors, or 1. So if there's no flash, it's going to, like, clear screen is going to be 1. If there is flash, it's going to be a random value from 0 to 5. So it's 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So let's see what that looks like. Oh yeah. I hate it when it just seems to be returning the blue. It's returning more blue than I want it. So maybe I'll just hard bake a color. Oh, and the ground. We're not changing the color of the ground. Maybe that will make it look like more stuff is going on. That's right. All right, so we have this rect fill, and we're always filling it as a 0. But we're going to do the same thing we did here. So we're going to say caps lock, flash, and 14 or 0. And let's make this, instead of random 5, because it gives me 1 too often, I'm just going to hard bake it in 3. So if there's a flash, the sky is going to be green, and the ground is going to be 14. And so let's see. Yes! Ah, so nice. Okay, now we can see more detail on the ground. Ah, sweet. I dig it. Alright, so we have a cloud that flashes in the way that I want it to. Like sometimes it's like more in a row. We have the color changing all the things. We've like used our color cycling properties of Pico-8 to their fullest. But what else can we do here? Well, like, I always wanted there to be a lightning, and there's no lightning, so I think that's the next step.